a single young 20 something, I was in these traps. I was in debt. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Tia Faith, and in today's video, we are going to talk about 4 things that will help you gain financial independence and keep you out of the trap of debt. The traps that we are going to talk about are super easy to fall into. I've been in them, and if you stay in those traps, it can set you back for years and years at a time. So I'm telling you this because as a single young 20 something, I was in these traps. I was in debt. As a married late 20 something, I was still living in these traps, still in debt. And it wasn't until like my mid 30s that I decided something has to give. Talked to my husband about it, and we decided that we were going to get out of this and that we weren't going to look back after that. So the 4 traps that we are going to discuss are easy to fall into, but we can get out of them. So let's go ahead and get started. The first trap that I want to talk about is lifestyle inflation. And what is lifestyle inflation? I think we all hear the term and we all use the term, but do we really know what lifestyle inflation is? And I think just from my experience being in the military, this is something that's easy to fall into because every 2 years we are either going to get a time and service raise. And then when you get promoted, you also get like a promotion raise or whatnot. But lifestyle inflation is basically you get a raise or you start making more money, but then your spending also increases, whether you're buying more things or you're looking to like get into a larger house or the money's just being used. You're eating out more. You know, you got promoted, so you treated yourself to a nice meal, but then you keep treating yourself to a nice meal. Or I remember when I was probably 18, 19, I got a job at a call center. And it was the first time that I was making some decent money. And I was getting paid like bi-weekly, maybe even weekly, but I'm going to say bi-weekly. And I remember one of my priorities at the time when I started getting paid and making what I considered decent money for an 18, 19-year-old is I was going to buy a new outfit every week. That was like my treat to myself. And no matter what happened, whether or not I had gas in the car, because I actually did run out of gas one time on the side of the road, but whether or not I had gas in the car or not, I was going to buy a new outfit. Like that was my thing and it was going to happen. So again, lifestyle inflation, like spending the money as you get more of it. What I didn't realize though with lifestyle inflation at that time, and like I realize it now, but if you keep spending the money, you're going to end up in the same position you were at the end of the month or 2 weeks ago before you got paid with nada left, right? So try to avoid lifestyle inflation. And I could say, I think I've done a pretty good job. I haven't given myself like a pay raise in the past 4 or 5 years. And like when it's time for a time and service raise, or when it's time for like my promotion raise or not, I just push that money elsewhere. And it helps me like stay below my means. And in doing that, I'm actually able to increase my savings. And then over time, if there's a big purchase or a trip I want to take, the money's already there because I've been putting it off to the side. The next trap that you can easily fall into that can set you back for years is credit card debt. And I know this one all too well. And again, I was a young 20-something-year-old. I was a late 20-something married woman. And I was like in my mid 30s, and credit card debt was along with me the whole time, whether it was varying cards or the same card, that it was with me. Store cards, Visas, MasterCards, it was all there. The thing with credit card debt though, and why it's a trap that you can stay in if you don't actually work to get out of it, is the interest rates. Those interest rates are high. And let me tell you, that 0% APR, if you pay it off within 12 months, it could be a gimmick. It could be an additional trap because how many people are actually going to pay it off, especially if you get like a large amount of points or anything. If you spend whatever amount within a certain time frame, that interest rates add up over time. And if you look at like your credit card statement or whatnot, it will actually tell you if you pay only this amount, this is how long it will take you to actually pay off your credit card. And sometimes the minimum amount, it could take you 10, 15 years to pay off, and then you add interest on that. And I think it's actual law now that they tell you how much you will pay over time. If you pay the minimum and it takes you 15 years, sometimes you're paying 100, 150% on your purchases just because you decided to pay the minimum payment at 15, 20, 25% interest rate. So credit card debt is a trap that will take you forever to get out of if you're not intentional about trying to get out of. Once we paid off our credit card debt, we still have credit cards. Yes, you guys know I love Dave Ramsey and he preaches against credit cards. But when I have a government travel card for work, but then two, we do have credit cards, but we only put on the credit card what we spend. So my advice to you is if you cannot pay it off at the end of the month, do not use a credit card for it. That is the what the debit card is for. And unfortunately, a lot of us do not have the discipline to actually pay it off at the end of the month. So again, to avoid actually using your credit card, if you cannot pay it off at the end of the month, like the money's not sitting in your checking account already, use your debit card. Use your debit card. I know we use credit card sometimes when there's too much month left at the end of pay. So the credit card will make the difference. But if it keeps racking and stacking and it keeps building up, that's going to be something that you're in for a while. And when it comes to credit card debt and paying it off, getting rid of it, there are so many ways you can do it. I've talked about it before. So you can do like the avalanche method where you take the highest interest rate and then you start paying that off. Or you can do something like the snowball method. And that's what we did because that's what Dave Ramsey preaches in his 7 baby steps. So basically you take the smallest debt and you pay that off first. And then you pay it off in the order of smallest to largest. Small wins give you the motivation to keep going and it allows you to continue to put more money towards your larger debt once you get there. Whatever you decide to do, just pay off your credit card debt. That's what we want you to do. Okay. So this next one is a big one. And I think it's really big and it's really prevalent, especially in today's world where we have access to social media and the Internet of Things. And there's just so much in your face all the time if you don't filter it or block it. That is keeping up with the Joneses. What we see online are people living their best lives, taking the best vacations, eating the best meals, going on the best shopping sprees. We have no idea what goes on when the camera is not shining. And I've said it before, and I will always say it. Comparison is a thief of joy. Do not let comparison steal your joy. And again, it's hard. Like you see people you work with, people you grew up with, and like, oh my God, you're in Italy? You're just in Fiji not too long ago. Like, what are you doing? What job do you have? It will get inside your head, but don't let it get inside your head. Focus on you and what you want. I was actually reading an article today on, I think it was money.com or something like that, but Ray Dalio was saying people need to identify their basic needs and what they need to survive. And one, they will be so much happier, but then two, they will probably more than likely reach some form of financial independence a lot sooner than what they were thinking. But the issue is we see what everyone else is doing, so we don't really define with what we're doing or what we actually want. So identify your basic needs and what you actually want out of life. And in the article, I just want to specify when the basic needs, we're not talking like food, shelter, and things like that. It's okay, I have my 4 walls established, but what else do I want out of that? Because you can't go out of everything. It's not a grab game, whack-a-mole. You have to be intentional. I talked about being intentional last week in my video, so go back and watch that if you're interested. But identify what you actually want to avoid, like that comparison factor. So when it comes to like comparison and everything, and you're online or you're scrolling social media, just know that you're looking at their highlight reel. We don't know what their financial situation is. And I'm actually amazed at how many people are coming out on like TikTok or social media or Facebook, and they're just saying, hey, I don't really have it together. I'm actually in blank amount of debt. And this is what I'm going to try to do and fix it, or I'm filing bankruptcy or this or that. So social media is a highlight reel. And we are starting to see more people come to terms and talk about what's actually going on in their financial house. But don't let that be your determining factor. Comparison can also lead to overspending if you're trying to keep up with someone else and what they're actually doing. So let's talk about this next one. I think we know about this next one. I don't know if it's talked about that much, but I can tell you I've fallen into this trap too. The situation I was in, though, fortunately, I was able to get rid of it a lot quicker. Payday loans. We already know that a lot of us are out here living paycheck to paycheck, like literally trying to make it, especially with inflation through the roof. And wages are down, cost of living is going up. So payday loans are there. They're in the neighborhood. They're there for you to cover the rest of the month. Payday loans do exist. So a payday loan is like a short-term loan. I think it's 3 months, 6 months to a year. And they have super high interest rates. They can be up to 300%. But like I said before, they are there to help you make it to the end of the month or to your next payday. But it's a trap because at 300% interest and you're already struggling to make it to your next payday or to the end of the month, how are you supposed to make that payment? That's just one more expense that you have to add to it, and then you'll get another one and another one, and it's just a cycle. And like I said, I took a payday loan before. I remember we were going on a trip, and this was right before I deployed, and I wanted to have spending money, and I didn't have any money. I had already spent my pay. I had some bills that were due, so I went to this place. I signed up for the payday loan. It was like $1,500. I don't remember what the interest rate was because I knew I was going to pay it off right away. And I think this was maybe 2009 time frame, 2008, 2009. But I got the loan, and then I did pay it like when I got my next paycheck. I completely paid it off because I knew that I know, not knew, I know that they are predatory and like the type of things they practice and how they can like come after you or whatnot if you don't pay it back. But payday loans are a trap that we can fall into. They are not a good trap, probably one of the harder traps to get out of, especially if you keep doing it. One thing I would recommend, like if you find yourself in a tight position when it comes to like payday loans or anything like that, try alternative means before you actually go for the payday loan. Try things like negotiating with your creditors, asking friends if it's something with food or whatnot. Do you have a local church in your community or some type of shelter that has non-perishable goods? Just look for other methods before you actually go to a payday loan. In my instance, I was just out here trying to live my best life, so there wasn't anything else to cover that. I would recommend payday loans as like a very, very last resort, as in like go get a personal loan before you get a payday loan. Like just don't do it. Again, 300% interest rates is not happening. So payday loans are an absolute no-go at this station, and I do not recommend. All right, guys, so in this video, we covered 4 traps to avoid if you would like to reach some form of financial independence. And those are lifestyle, inflation, comparison, credit card debt, and payday loans. If for whatever reason you find yourself in any of these traps, start working towards them. Whether you are putting your extra money aside if you got a raise, you just completely log out of social media. Identify how you're going to pay off your credit card debt or any other debt you have. Again, avalanche versus snowball method. And don't use a payday loan. Find alternative means. And I'm excited to announce and let you guys know that I'm actually going to start introducing coaching calls. So stay tuned for more information about that and ways that I can actually help you when it comes to like your financial planning and your path. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.